Did I lie?
I want the truth!
Was I completely wrong about lever arms? Well, it's been 3 years since I made my original lever arm video, and it's time for an update. The No Fade channel, checking in. Jonathan here, and I have the RITFIT lever arm attachments for their M2 series racks. Now, these racks are very popular, but today we're going to be focusing on lever arms in general. For those of you who haven't been subscribed for quite a while, 3 years ago, I made an entire video talking about why lever arms for a home gym weren't very practical, and most people who got them ended up putting them on Facebook Marketplace within the year.
No!
Now, it's been 3 years. There have been some major improvements when it comes to lever arms, and we need to talk about it. Before I dive into my tirade, to my rant, I want to know from you. Comment down below. Do you use lever arms? Do you use them consistently? Do you own them? Or did you buy them and eventually get rid of them because they weren't being used and taking up too much space? Since I'm dressed like an absolute lumberjack, we're getting right to work. I'm going to take you through all of my original complaints and issues with lever arms, talk about if they've been fixed. But if you're new to the channel, if you're not familiar with lever arms, the big selling point is that you buy these, connect them to your rack, and poof, you literally have every plate-loaded machine at your local gym here in your home gym. You can adjust them up and down and left and right, and you can do everything from seated chest press to overhead press to one-arm rows, to front squats, and everything else in between. But usually when something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Now, one of my minor complaints with regards to lever arms is that they are heavy. They're heavy to load onto your rack, take off, and readjust. And that is just a problem, because if they're heavy, if it's a nuisance, you're just not going to do it. You're going to find yourself choosing other exercises rather than dealing with picking up and loading up and putting the lever arms in place. Now, clearly, lever arms are not all the same. They come in different weights, lengths, sizes, and steel gauge thickness. I'm going to tell you, speaking on these RITFIT ones, they're not too bad. They're certainly not light, but they are not ultra heavy. I want to say these are probably about 30 pounds. Now, in terms of loading and unloading, the previous ones that I had tried were a nuisance. You really had to line them up. It was difficult. These have changed. I got to give a check in the win column for RITFIT because they made loading this thing fairly easy. Again, it's about 30 pounds. You simply pick it up, sans the weight, you place it into the rack, and then you just take this pin to lock it into place. And I gotta tip the old cap to RITFIT. They did something really nice. In today's day and age, many of us have cable systems attached to our power racks, but they actually made a cutout section on their lever arms, allowing you to load these in, use them however you want, and not pinch or impinge the cable whatsoever. Now, another one of my major complaints was that it was hard to adjust these handles up and down in order to properly align them with the exercise you were doing and your specific build. Since my video, a number of different lever arms have come out, making it super easy to adjust these however you want. Some of them even have just a pop pin, and you can roll them up and down. Now, 90% of the time, you're gonna keep them down here at the bottom and just adjust accordingly, but it is nice to know that there are versions out there that allow you to adjust it quickly. Now, RITFIT's version kind of is in the middle. You've got to unscrew this knob here, take out this thing right over here, and then you can take this off and adjust it and then screw everything back in. It is time consuming, but if you really had your heart set on moving this up a bit or down a bit, you can do that. The reality is, again, most of us are going to find that one spot that works for us on the exercises that we enjoy and leave it there. We're not going to touch it. Time out. So many of you see the lumberjack outfit and you think I'm just rolling in money with all this swag. I do need your support to help keep this content going forward. The good news is there's 5 things that you can do. 4 of them don't cost anything. Drop a comment, give the video a like, hit that share button, and send it off to a friend who may enjoy this one as well. Click on the notifications and then check out the links in the description. And if you're not game for the RITFIT lever arms, hell, there's tons of stuff down there. Everything that is on Amazon does help me out. So if you need to buy toilet paper in bulk, the Amazon basic toilet paper works and is quite inexpensive. Now, one of my biggest complaints that I focused on in my video 3 years ago was the range of motion, in the fact that it was simply linear. You could only move the lever arms out and back. Well, it's been 3 years and there have been a ton of innovations. A lot of new lever arms have different planes of movement, and RITFIT has utilized that. You can move this out if you want, out and back, but you can also swivel it in order to get a more natural progression of an exercise movement. You can pin it over here and then you pin it at the top. Super easy to adjust if you want to lock this into a different position or set it up for a specific exercise. You could also lock this all the way up and if you wanted to get this out of your way while you were working out down here. So now that brings us to my biggest beef, my biggest complaint, the biggest reason that so many people bought lever arms, thought they were going to be the bee's knees, and then put them on Facebook Marketplace in no time. And that is the strength curve. Typically, when you've got these things, as you push through the range of motion, it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel like a barbell, doesn't feel like a dumbbell, it doesn't even feel like those local hammer strength machines at your gym that you used to go to. It feels off. It is very different than actually moving a real weight. Now, to combat this in the past, when I utilized lever arms or jammer arms or pivot arms, whatever you want to call them, I would actually connect bands. So I would put a band here, run it to the back of the rack, and that would actually add just a little bit more tension to make it feel a bit more natural. It was definitely fugazi, but it did serve a purpose of being just a bit more even, a bit more enjoyable in terms of the exercise movement. Now, RITFIT and a lot of others have gone a step further. They know you've got these cable systems and you want to do nothing but use them to your advantage. Well, they added a bolt down here, a little bit of an eye bolt that you can clip in to your functional trainer that's already on your rack, and that's going to give you a much more improved resistance curve because it's going to be going through that cable, and that cable is going to be delivering constant tension or very close to constant tension, and it's going to feel ideal for you. I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be perfect, but man, oh man, they have come so far since my original ones that I tested out. They certainly feel a lot better. And the last issue that I always try to point out, because so many people overlook it and just completely ignore it, especially a lot of content creators, they don't want to mention this fact. But listen, I know you, you know you. You've got limited space in your home gym. When you've got these, you got to store them somewhere, okay? And they are not small, they're not light. In fact, they're fairly bulky in terms of their length, and they've got some good width to them. They're not going to fit on your wall control. They're not going to fit on most of your shelves that you have. You're going to have to find literally a corner of your gym and like lean them against the wall. Now, that issue has not changed at all in the past 3 years. If you get lever arms, they're still going to be a nuisance to store. Now, most people will just leave them on the rack because they don't want to have to bother taking them off, storing them, and putting them back on. But keep in mind, if you've got a rack like this, you're really not going to be able to utilize your cable system with these on the rack. So you're going to have to move these off. Or if you wanted to squat off the front of your rack, again, you're going to have to take these off or reposition them in a way so that you can actually squat. And now it's time. It is time for the most important part of the video, my final thoughts. And do I still feel that lever arms in a home gym are useless? Absolutely not. Now, 3 years ago, I said that lever arms do work, and most of the time, it is meant for college or professional athletes doing strength training and working on explosive exercises. But I do feel like they've come a long way such that you're going to see more use in a home gym. But still keep in mind, a lot of people, before they buy these lever arms, they fall in love with the idea of a lever arm. For not much more space and for a low amount of money, you get all these other extra amazing exercises that are going to replicate all the things at your local gym. And that's not true. It's kind of true now that you've got an extra range, plane of motion for movement, and you can connect your cable system, and that's going to translate to more use. But still, many of you are going to fall in love with these, especially when you see your favorite YouTube content creator showing you how awesome they are, only to find out that they put them on Facebook Marketplace a few days later. The truth is, you've got to know what you're getting into before you make this purchase. Now, if you go in with your eyes wide open and you have all that information, you've got all the answers on how you're going to specifically utilize it, where you're going to store it, what exercises you're going to do, and how it's going to help your programming, then certainly hit that Buy It Now button, and of course, use my affiliate link in the description. But don't just buy these because they look cool on some video, someone doing a bunch of different exercises. I happen to think lever arms work. They're great if you actually use them. But most people end up not using them, and if you don't believe me, go on Facebook Marketplace and search jammer arms, lever arms. There's probably like 10 or 15 within a 30-mile radius of you at this moment. And one video you don't have to search for is the next video you're gonna watch. There's 2 gems right there. Watch another video, hit the subscribe button, follow, like, share, comment, all that great stuff. Affiliate links in the description. But most importantly, don't save anything for the trip back.
I'll be right back.